Welcome to Creator Review, the series that won't stop covering the most obscure creators of all time. This episode's creator is Dubnium. Dubnium doesn't really have a backstory or anything of the sort. Let's just jump into the levels. Ultra Hexagon hurts me, because it could have been good. It really could have. The gameplay is the highest stat and it's a 6. The teleport portal transitions, courtesy of early 2.0, suck ass. This shaking of the level at the beginning of this ship sucks ass. The entire reason the gameplay score is a 6 is because there is some good gameplay hidden in there somewhere, but it's buried by all the early 2.0 that's thrown in your face the whole time. The deco, I don't even think I need to really comment on. It's so fucking early 2.0, it hurts. I'm gonna give it a 4 because, well, this ball section, this cube section, like, they're pretty good. They're also right next to each other, that's fun. But the rest of the levels just, no. Sync is fine, I'll give it a 2, I guess. Originality, however, I'll give a 3. It's clear Dubnium was creative when making the level and did put a lot of effort into it. It ended up looking like garbage, but it's the thought that counts. The saddest part is that it's not something completely beyond saving, like, let's say, I don't know, Dropout by Mr. Vector 2003. There is a good level in there. Too bad it's just made in early 2.0. The bare minimum for making a passable level is here, thus the score being right in the middle, but man, this could have been just really good. Unfortunate, I guess. Final score, 15 out of 30. Now, that's all of Dubnium's rated levels. There's only one. Now, usually I would give the final creator's score, which here is 5 out of 10, but I decided this time to do something different. I wanted to see if I was capable of improving his one level and getting rid of all the 2.0 garbage. So I spent this entire afternoon fixing every part of Ultra Hexagon and making it hopefully look better and play better. Here's what I managed to do. The first part wasn't too big of a hassle. One thing I did pretty much throughout the whole level was darken the background and ground. This generally helps make the actual gameplay stand out more and, like, the stuff you actually did. Either way, I layered the fire behind the monster because Dubnium didn't. Throughout the whole level, this appears like 3 times. He forgets to layer the fire behind the monster instead of, you know, on top. I fixed some glow overlays because there were some, I don't know how, and I also redid the key system here into like the gem gimmick seen in Geometrical Dominator, because he did put them on the platform for some reason, but they mean nothing. Well, that was pretty easy. The movement of the pillar that leads into the next section I changed to a slower version of what I did for this dual ball part in my level num. This next part, has a gimmick of staying out of the background when it flashes. The problem is, most of the time, there's no way to do that. So I added some bricks on top of where the player would normally be when the background flashes. I also tweaked the invisible saws a bit and made everything monochromatic since the green goop at the top and bottom in the original just did not look good at all. This is actually one of my favorite parts that I've renovated, so to speak. I think it looks nice. The next part was one of the hardest to make better by far. It's entirely a Geometrical Dominator themed section, and I already made one of those for my level time frames. So happily I knew how to make this part look like Geometrical Dominator. You'll notice that there's not much going on in my version in time frames, but in Dubnium's level there is so much shit on the screen at once, and I just kept removing and removing until I ended up being satisfied with this. There's not much going on, but at the same time it was such a clusterfuck originally that I couldn't really do much else. Also, for some reason the object color for this part was orange. I don't know why, but I made it white again. Just weird. Next up is the first boss fight section. Darkening the background was a must for this, as oh my god, that's bright. Second, I made the animation for when the monster's shooting the laser thingy less choppy by adding some alpha triggers, because it just appeared and then disappeared within like 1 frame, so I added some alpha triggers to make it like more natural, so to say. I also swapped the exclamation marks with some arrow size instead. Oh, and one more thing. I got rid of the 2.0 fire object that was on every ground tile and only put it on a couple bigger fire objects along with some of the spiky decoration objects from like 1.0. Now, this section was so hard for me to remake for one simple fact. The effect that Dubnium uses here, there was no way to make it look good. So instead I lowered, respectively moved up the air decoration objects and made all the blocks black and reserved the effect for some air deco inside the tunnel. There wasn't really any other way to make it look better, and it's one of the worst parts by far to me, but there wasn't anything more I really could have done. Next up, the ship with the shaking effect. This ship had a lot of the same things as the boss fight, so I gave it pretty much the same treatment. Darken the background, remove the literally almost 100 2.0 fire objects and only leave like 6 or 7. Add some of the spiky deco ground things from 1.0 and done. That was simple. Oh, and the ball after is actually one of, if not the strongest part of the original level. All I did was remove the big red balls of death that the monsters spit out as they clash with the green and black color scheme. Next up is the only part I left entirely unchanged. This Hexagon Force part looks really good. I have no complaints and neither did I do anything to it. I just left it the same as in the original level. Next up is the last section, and a pretty hard one. This boss fight had probably the worst colors in the entire level. Just, wow, this looks awful. This is the second part that I couldn't really find a fix for. I just made the whole thing blue and water themed, and that was kind of all I could have done. At least it doesn't look like this anymore. The end I left unchanged as it looks pretty good, and that's it. I personally think this turned out pretty good for what I was trying to go for. I didn't want to decorate it as if it was like a modern day feature level or something, because I'm not good enough to do that at all. But I did want to keep the spirit and like the flow of the original level, and didn't really strain away from any of Dubnium's ideas. You see that I kept the fucking brick effect in that one cube section. I know this was probably very unexpected, especially from a creator review, but I wanted to try something new and also have an excuse to cover Dubnium. Would y'all believe me if I said that I originally wanted this to be creator review 4? I'm glad I finally managed to do this, and you guys can criticize my remake all you want. I'll link a showcase of it in the outro. Anyways, that's all. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.